Chug. Come on.
Check.
You can do it.
Go.
You can do it.
Chug, chug, chug.
Come on, YouTube. Yay! There we are.
Hey, YouTube made it.
There we are. I can see us. All right. I think, if my calculations are correct, we are officially live.
All right. Just a little late. It's okay.
Welcome to Talking Heads, everyone. Episode 234, your once-weekly live show for the latest in beer and tech news. I'm Jeff.
And I'm Steve.
Welcome to the show, everyone. Thank you all so much for joining us late on this Wednesday night, or on the replay in podcast form over on Anchor.fm, or wherever your favorite podcasts are found. If you've never seen the show before, we talk beer, we talk tech, we talk games, pop culture, entertainment, usually some Star Trek. We do read all super chats on the air, so long as they will not permanently demonetize my channel. We do drink alcohol on the show, and if you're drinking along with us, alcoholic or not, let us know in the chat, and we will give some early show shout-outs as we go along. Last but not least, if you'd like to take part in the super secret chat and the even more super secret after party, think about joining the Patreon. Link is down in the video description. As a bonus, you'll get exclusive access to the Discord server, where you can chat with myself, John, Rhett, Steve, all the hosts from Talking Heads, and join the awesome community that hangs out over there.
Only $1 too. $1.
$1.
$1 gets you in.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of like, those freak shows of old. Just $1 get you in.
$1.
You come and experience the freak show. That's our Discord channel.
$1 brings you to the beard show.
That's right. The beard contest.
Yes. This is the longest I've let mine go for quite a while.
I've been doing the same thing too. Usually I keep mine fairly closely cropped, but I'm just gonna see how far I can let this whole thing go.
Yeah. Before
my wife gets annoyed and she's like, "No, okay, you got to trim it."
Right. Exactly. Yeah. 2020, when we first locked everything down, I just kind of let it go, and I went back recently and watched the I Quit video, which was almost 2 years ago now. Yeah. Good God, I was haggard.
Yeah.
Not only was it long, but it was just like, it was horrible. Yeah. Now it's actually got a nice form to it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not doing too bad. But yeah, boy, you could tell I was done with that job.
You can. That's the dream, though. I mean, you don't grow a beard just to grow a beard. You want a man wants to shape their beard,
right? Either
like Viking braids or like a giant Grizzly Adam thing. There's a point to it. Yeah, Fu Manchu. There's going to be a point to it.
Right,
you
exactly.
Don't just let it go crazy.
Right. And so far I've done a pretty good job keeping this one up. I did have just the chin for quite a while, and I got a multiple fingers long kind of thing. I actually have a shot from when I was admitted to the emergency room at one point. And that's the point which my wife told me to shave. Like, that's all that came out of that trip to the emergency room.
She didn't care about anything else. Just, oh, God.
Right. Well,
if you die, you're going to look terrible, so please shave.
I went in there under concern of a heart attack in my 20s. And it turned out to be just fine. I mean, it was a heart issue that was uncovered, but it was benign and yada yada. But someone took a picture of me in the hospital bed, and I had my head like this as well, and so it just accentuated the beard, and it was just like this.
This big old
coming off of me. Yeah. And she goes, "You got to do something about that. That can't be the last picture I see of you." Yes. So, but we're taking a second crack at it. We're gonna see how long we can make this thing go.
All right.
Anyway, getting this show started tonight, Tech Geek sends over $50. Thank you.
Oh, wow.
So much.
Starting in hot.
Sir. Evening, gents. Rendering on my 3080 Ti tonight, and YouTube triples frame time, so premium janked TM solution for the night to play on my laptop, pipe headphones into line in on my desktop, and use the fourth monitor to mirror the laptop screen. I have lived that life.
Oh, yeah.
You're doing so many different things at once, and you don't have enough physical screens to put everything on.
Yes.
And it's like, I've got an iPad, and I can create a fake fifth monitor and pipe something out. In fact, I have a picture of that setup at one point, where I was doing something, and I had multiple giant Excel spread tables out and whatnot. I'm trying to consolidate all this data down, and it's like, I am literally just out of real estate.
Yeah, I am out of horizontal real estate. I'm gonna have to go vertical next if I want to expand, which I might. I mean, maybe a third monitor up there, that'd be kind of cool.
Yeah. I mean, you got to put Discord somewhere.
Yeah, I know. I'm already like, gosh, where do I put it? Put it over there. Yeah, put it over there.
Yep. Anyway, reason I was late tonight, my family was actually out of town for the last 9 days. They spent some time in Kansas with some family and then did some sightseeing while they were over there. So they left last Tuesday and they literally just flew back tonight. And anyone who knows 205 on a weeknight in Portland,
it's bad.
Yeah, their flight landed at 5:20. It's like, are you kidding me?
Yeah, it's horrible.
It was awful.
Of course, if you ever are late, and this is just a general rule, if you're ever late and you don't want any follow-up questions, the answer is always diarrhea.
Yeah.
You just say that no one's gonna question it. No one's gonna want any follow-up questions.
Gastrointestinal distress.
You just say that, and they'll be like, "Oh, I understand."
I had some, and you just kind of like put your hand on your gut, and they're like, "Say no more, fam." Yeah. And then just like once or twice through the night, just kind of go.
Just kind of uncomfortably shifting your seat.
Yeah, just wait on one leg for a second.
Yeah.
So anyway, I kind of scarfed my dinner down right before I sat down. So I made myself just a nice little neat old-fashioned. Well, not neat, but it's on a single rock. Yeah. I've got some Noble Oak Double Rye.
Oh, I've had that before. And is that the port aged one, or is that the?
Yes, this is the port wine oak staves. Yes. Is what this was aged in. So it wasn't a port barrel, but it was they chopped the barrel
staves,
and
port staves. Yeah,
they chopped the barrel. I had
that one.
It in.
How is it with an old fashioned? Because I just had it neat, and I thought it was just okay neat. But...
just neat. It's okay. My impression neat was it was a little bit muted.
That's what I thought too.
It's like normally with a rye you get especially that real spicy cinnamon.
Yes, that's what I was expecting, and I thought that maybe the staves may have done it. I don't know.
Right, and I think that's what it was. I think probably they brought out some char and some flavor in the original aging, but then the port brought it back down.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking too, because I was a little disappointed.
In an old fashioned, it's a little sweit. It's a little
okay.
It's more like a bourbon old fashioned. It's actually slightly too sweet for even my tastes. But in fact, you probably saw me right before we shot. I took a sip and then I actually topped it off again with whiskey.
A little bit more.
Yeah, I just need just a little bit more in this.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, it's funny how your drinking matures. Like when you first start out, it's like, oh yeah, give me those watermelon puckers and mix all that stuff. And then now if you try drinking that, you're just like, oh god, that's a giant sugar bomb. I don't want to.
Yeah. Little Bartles and James for you, Steve.
Yeah. Southern Comfort is that's too sweet.
Oh god,
way too sweet. Yeah, it's just straight whiskey for me. That's okay.
Yeah. Yep. Straight whiskey, the ryer the better.
Yeah, that's the thing is like I've kind of stayed away from like liqueurs and stuff like that. I mean, once in a while, if it sounds interesting, I might try it. But for the most part, it's just bourbon, rye, whiskeys, Irish whiskeys.
Yep. We've got a couple comments. We've got RS is having a Bellhaven Wee Heavy.
Wee Heavy.
Yep. Jeremy's drinking a cherry Coke tonight. Nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
Build from Above has some 805. Good standard IPA.
Oh yeah, 805 is a good one. Yeah.
Let's see. Steez drinking from the freshest bottled water from Poland Spring as I'm going to bed. Sounds delicious, actually.
Yeah.
Skull's got a Revolution Brewing Cryo Hero.
Oh, nice.
I do like a good cryo hop. I would be interested in trying that one sometime. Let's see. The Basis 95 has a spiked vanilla shake. You and I have done some spiked shakes before.
Yes, we did. Well, we went to CES, and that was actually quite good.
Yeah. The gosh, what was that? Steak Shack.
Steak and Shake.
Yeah.
So I got I think it was a strawberry banana.
It was a strawberry
milkshake.
We tried the banana. It wasn't as good. It was the strawberry milkshake with the Myers rum.
Yes, and that was really good.
Oh,
I was surprised at how much I really, really liked that.
It wasn't even just like vacation good. It was genuine. I would have this every night good.
Yeah. It was really good.
Sean's got a can of Arizona iced tea. Let's see. Let's do two more. Michael's got a Three Floyds Brewing Zombie Dust Pale Ale, 6.5%.
Oh yeah, I've seen Zombie Dust out there before.
Next one I see is Polar Nattens, I think. Dirk has a Polar Nattens Paradise, aged 19 months.
Ooh.
All right.
Wow.
Steve, what do you got?
All right. So today I got a lot of local breweries. In fact, all local breweries, all Oregon. First one up, I have Fort George's Power Cycle, which has got the Big Wheels power bike on here, the Power Wheels bike. Everybody had as a kid.
Yes.
The plastic one. Oh, yeah.
Everyone took that down a hill way faster than it was ever intended.
Yep.
Trying to pedal backwards to brake.
How to power slide on that thing.
Got to drift it.
Mm-hmm. And then I also have from Level Beer, Fatality, which I have had before, but I think this is going to be their yearly release now. Mm-hmm. They're going to be doing Fatality as a yearly release, so that's just going to should be different each year. And it looks like they kind of rebranded it, because before they used to have like fighting characters on the front. Now this just has
that they had some genuine knockoff Mortal Kombat characters before.
Yes, they did.
I wonder if they got a C&D for that.
Maybe that's what it was, because a lot of their can art borders.
It's pushing some lines with a lot of it.
And on reserve, in case I want it, I have Crux Fermentation Project, Kiki Magic.
Nice.
Which is a hazy IPA, which I've actually had this one before, and it's actually quite good. So I'm going to put that third if I feel like it.
All right. So I've got my Old Fashioned made with the Noble Oak, and I also pulled down just a single can, but a good single can here from Oregon.
Oh, the Rolling Thunder.
Rolling Thunder 2022.
I have not had the 2022, but that's a great beer.
Neither have I. So this is an annual release from Rogue. They do. I actually have the bottle that matches this as well. Mm-hmm. Rogue being a brewery and distillery and meadery and cidery, and they own tons of different farms around Oregon, and so they make their own grain. They mash it themselves. They distill it themselves. They make beer. They make cider. They make mead. They make liquors. But the advantage of doing that, all literally in the same warehouse, is you can go, well, we've got this really good stout and we've got this really good whiskey. Let's take that really good whiskey and bottle it. And let's take that stout and put it in those whiskey barrels.
Yep.
Let's let them age for a year. Mm-hmm. You know what? Once we empty that, let's put the whiskey back in.
You got symmetry here.
Right.
No waste. No waste going
right.
on here.
And so this is the stout that went into those whiskey barrels. So this is the Rolling Thunder Imperial Stout. I also have the Rogue Stouted Whiskey, which is the whiskey that was aged in a new American oak barrel that was then replaced with stout and aged for a year, and then they took the stout out and then they put the whiskey back in and aged that for another year, and so you have a stout infused whiskey. And it's cask strength.
Yeah.
So it's a good bottle. It's a really
we have the
good
chat
bottle.
says Rogue, the brewery that brought you beer made from foot fungus. I don't think it was foot fungus. I think it was beard fungus. It was beard beer.
Fungus, yeah.
Beard
yeast.
The beard yeast. Yes, yeah. I think it was beard beer. I don't remember them doing a foot fungus one. Though.
Yeah.
But they did do the beard beer, and I actually quite liked it. I thought it was pretty good.
I got a couple super chats, and then let's get this show on the road. Mo Zamboni sends over $2. Aging myself, ultimate pucker for the win. No, you're not aging yourself.
No, Puckers is still out there. In fact, when my nephew turned 21, he tried a couple things, and he's like, I don't like it. I don't like it. Yeah. And I'm like, all right, just try it. Let me make you a drink with Puckers. He's like, oh, this is good. I like this.
Yeah.
It's like, well, revel in that, because it's not going to last long. Pretty soon it's going to be way too sweet for you.
Yep. Then Elma sends over 500 yen. Thank you very much. Hello, gents. Just drinking water since the Navy doesn't day drink anymore. LOL.
That you know of.
What happened to the daily allotment of gin? Like, for God's sakes, you gotta fight the scurvy.
The Navy strength gin, man, that stuff's great.
Navy grog? Oh God, there's nothing better. Yeah. Nothing better than that. In fact, there's Big Bottom, which is another Oregon distillery, makes a fantastic Navy gin. It is 52%, like 100, 104, 105.
Navy strength is up there. It's like 48 and above, I believe. Navy strength. Yeah.
So 96 proof and up or something like that. There's broke triple digits. It's in the 105, 110 range. It's a fantastic gin.
I mean, there's a reason why I like getting my pea coat on, going out to the Oregon coast, smoking a pipe, and sipping on my gin with the wind blowing on me.
Yeah,
just to feel like an old sea captain.
Yeah, right. I have done that same thing. In fact, I think it was Rhett hosted a show with John, and I bombed him in the middle of my vacation from the beach with a pipe and a thing of gin. I was somewhere between Depot Bay and Newport.
Yeah, I think that's where I was at Depot Bay when I did
that. Yeah, I was somewhere right along that coastline, like under a bridge is where I was. Good times.
Oh, yeah.
All right, let's dive into the news. Starting with Apple is officially 114 is Navy, says Bearded Tech. Or Bearded IT guy.
Oh, okay.
114.
Okay.
Yeah. Apple is officially discontinuing the iPod.
Oh,
the end of an era. Wah, wah. Yes, the device that started the music revolution. And people are going to second guess history. But I can tell you that the Rio and the Pop didn't write history.
No.
Neither did the Click. Neither did there were so many MP3 players that try as they might, could not break through to that next level. And like I went through so many MP3 players. Well, that's a lie. I was a mini disc guy. I still have my mini disc player. But I also went through a number of different, media players here and there throughout the early 2000s. And there was something magical about the plug and play nature of the iPod ecosystem in general. Do you want to buy music from iTunes? Cool. Download it and hit sync. And you will have your entire music library on a device that fits in your pocket. If you have your own CDs, cool. Put your CD in the drive, hit this button right here to pull it down and put it onto your hard drive, and then press sync. And now your entire CD library fits in your pocket. No one else did that. No one else had that simplicity. The
simplicity.
Right. The thing that may have come close was actually Windows, believe it or not. And I'm not talking about the Zune. I'm talking about pre-Zune days.
With the media player, Windows media player?
With devices like the Creative Zen.
Right.
And whatnot. They came in, 4 and 8 gigabyte models, and this postdates the iPad or the iPod. This came out after the iPod, but they had devices that synced with Windows Media Player.
Yeah,
Windows Media Player had essentially the same functionality, but with WMAs, and so you could one button rip your CDs. You could one button burn custom CDs. You could one button sync your library to a device, and it worked in much the same way that the iPod did. But for some reason, it never got the mass adoption that the iPod did.
to be fair, the media player was a little kludgy. I mean, it wasn't the greatest of the interfaces.
And I think it all comes down to UX. Like the UI, I think actually was there. It was the user experience that detracted from Windows and Windows Media gaining any sort of foothold in the market, or at least a measurable foothold in the market. Yeah. People love Macs. Yeah, Mac still makes up 5% of the overall ecosystem.
Yeah.
And I love Linux. Yeah, and everyone who uses Linux worldwide probably watches my channel, all 250,000 of you. So I'm just saying, like, something that's popular doesn't make it defining or genre making, creating, pathfinding, the iPod, for better or worse, was a trendsetter. It
definitely was.
It did everything right. It did very little wrong, and you got to give credit where credit's due. So, yeah, Zune for the win. Yeah, if the other 30 people had shouted that as well, Zune may have done better.
Yeah, because I think Zune just came way too late to the game. Mm-hmm. It was kind of at that point, right at that cusp when smartphones were about to be released.
That's the problem, is it came out after the iPhone.
Yeah,
but
the iPhone was obviously revolutionary, but people still liked their iPad, or their iPod and stuff like that. So it was right at that cusp where it was supposed to get popular, and people liked it. They liked it,
right? But
it just was too little, too late.
Yeah, I'm not saying the Zune was not a good product. I agree that it was a fantastic product. The problem is, where do you launch in the market? And your timing is everything. Timing, a little bit of luck, a little bit of user buy-in, and a little bit of fanboyism, and you've got yourself a dynamite product. Yeah. You can see the little sliver of it right up here, that little white thing. That's my Aya Neo. Only 9,400 of you have watched my Aya Neo review, and that's embarrassing. It's one of the worst performing videos on my channel in a long time. But here's the deal with the Aya Neo review that I did. I put 25 minutes into that review. I put just as much effort into that review as I did the GPD Win 3 and writing my SteamOS reviews. And by the way, I have another one cooking. Sorry, 12,900. But for me, that's a bomb. That is like, boy, that's barely even worth the effort to turn the camera on. But why did my GPD Win 3 review, which also was kind of a bomb on my channel, but also did like 35 or 40,000 views, why did that do so much better? Well, it was announced and released before the Steam Deck.
Steam one, yeah. Steam Deck came out and everybody did that, yeah.
Once the Steam Deck is out, all anyone wants to hear about is Steam Deck. And I'm not here to say the Steam Deck is a bad product. I literally have been swapping back and forth between my Aya Neo Next and the Steam Deck. They are both fantastic products. The Aya Neo Next is a better product, but it also costs twice as much and also has some user interface issues that could probably be solved with SteamOS. But SteamOS won't work on the Steam Deck yet, and I even tried the Holo ISO, the Holo OS, which is basically taking Arch and applying the SteamOS layout on top of
onto it,
getting you 99% of the way there, and the same game compatibility and ease of use and all that kind of stuff. The touchscreen doesn't work on the Aya Neo Next. The custom buttons do not work. So I don't have a Steam button or a menu button, which
kind of ruins the experience.
So that there's and the Wi-Fi doesn't work. Right,
just a small thing.
Right, which that could probably be solved because that is a modular component on the Aya Neo, so I could probably swap out that card for a compatible one. But it doesn't work yet. But the problem is, it comes out at a fairly decent price. It starts at like $1,250, goes up to $1,500, and for a mobile gaming PC. And
with that kind of power,
and make no bones about it, it is faster than the Steam Deck. I've been testing these for a month. playing. I've been testing these for a month.
That most gaming you've done in a long time.
It is. That has more performance than the Steam Deck does. However, the Steam Deck absolutely wins in price to performance. But that doesn't make it better, and that doesn't make it the only solution. But the problem is, the buy-in from consumers is already there. Give me a Steam Deck or give me death.
Yeah.
And the same thing happened between the Zune and the iPod.
Yeah.
You came out too late. The iPhone was already announced, reaching people's hands, and people were going, this is mind-blowing and game-changing, and this is what my mobile experience should be. Oh, and I can load all my music into it too. It wasn't just a music player.
Yeah.
Whereas the Zune came out, and it was a fantastic product if it was released 2 years earlier.
Yeah, I was going to say, because wasn't it the iPad was already or almost at its third iteration by the time the Zune came out?
When did the Zune come out? Let me get my dates right, because the iPod came out in
that's what I meant, iPod
2002.
Yeah.
The Zune came out in 2006.
Okay.
November 2006.
4 years. So 4 years later.
The original iPhone came out January 2007.
Okay.
You had 2 months. Yeah. You had 2 months where you weren't competing against the product that would literally shift the entire mobile ecosystem.
Yeah, just didn't give them too much room.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, sometimes you make a great product and you have a dedicated fan base. That doesn't make it a winner.
Yeah. Yeah. It doesn't.
You can do all right, but you're not going to lead a paradigm shift by being just all right.
No, you're basically copying somebody.
Right.
I'm doing a follow up, and this is my shtick and how I'm doing it.
Right. So yeah, I mean, all respect to the Zune. It was a great product. It wasn't the right product at the right time.
No.
Same thing happened with VHS and Betamax. Slightly different story there.
Yeah, I think that's a slightly different. The VHS one, well, I don't know if I want to say what it really. There's various reasons, but one of them.
Let me see if I can phrase. I know the reason, Steve. Okay, you don't have to spell it out for me. Let me see if I can say this slightly PC and family friendly. There were multiple things in the 80s when that media war was ongoing that led to the VHS winning. The Betamax, for all intents and purposes, was the superior platform. It was much higher resolution. It was longer life on the media. But it was more expensive. It was moderately more expensive. Not by a ton. We're talking like 15-20%. As far as player costs, recorder costs, media costs, like it was all 15-20%.
I also think it was a little shorter too. It can only hold a certain amount lengthwise.
Correct.
Came to film. Yeah.
Yeah. And so if you had like a 2.5 hour movie, you'd have to split that into 2 tapes.
Right.
Which was still a thing back then. Like I own Braveheart on 2 cassettes. Like
Yeah.
It happens, it happens to the best of us. There were 2 things that led to the demise of Betamax as a legitimate platform. Number one was this was the 80s during a pretty decent economic recession, and people went, I don't want to adopt a brand new format that's 20% more just because it looks better. I just want to freaking watch a movie. And so that kind of went in favor of VHS. The other thing is the adult film industry adopted VHS as their standard. So VCRs sold like hotcakes.
Yeah. I wonder why.
Funny story, but inverse of that was Blu-ray coming to market. When did Blu-ray come to market? That was 2005?
Blu-ray was, I was going to say mid-2000s, I was going to say. Yeah, that was the HD DVD and Blu-ray were kind of competing with each other at the same time. And then, of course, we had the
June 2006.
The redheaded stepchild DivX was out there too.
DivX was a DVD competitor, though.
Yeah,
that was early.
It was also some kind of weird rental type
we had
thing
it. We actually talked about DivX on the show just a couple weeks ago.
Oh, we did?
Believe it or not. Yeah, DivX was this weird rental thing that was the same quality as DVD, but had an like always online DRM component. If I'm breaking it down very simply, and you could re-rent the physical media that you already bought for like $2.99. So instead of driving down to Blockbuster, getting the disc, driving it home, oh no, the disc doesn't work, or whatever they were trying to sell you on, you could literally just plug a phone line into the back of your DVD player and go, here's $3. I would like to watch Deep Impact again. I say Deep Impact because it was one of the 5 DivX discs that we owned.
I thought we were going back to the adult entertainment thing.
No, that was a different
deep. Okay.
See, that was on DVD. That's why that was.
Okay.
Sorry. Anyway, Blu-ray was released in June 20th, or on June 20th, 2006, was the official announcement date of Blu-ray. Now, what was happening in 2006? We were in an economic boom. We had recovered from the dot-com bomb. Banks were giving out money left and right. Now that eventually bit them in 2008. But we were in an economic boom. Everyone was spending money, and people went, well, of course I don't mind spending 10% more over HD DVD to get true 1080p instead of 720p or 1080i as far as the resolution goes. And, I mean, the PlayStation has one built in, so I might as well just buy a PlayStation at $600 because I got money to spend, yo! And the adult film industry adopted Blu-ray as their official media. The internet was a much different beast in 2006.
Oh yeah,
it wasn't as readily available.
I did get I wasn't quite.
Is that why streaming does so well now?
Well, okay. See, I was an adopter of the idea of streaming before streaming became mainstream, because I'm a longtime pirate. It's just say it, and I've always wanted to be like.
I think most people who watch me are.
Okay, probably. Okay.
Like I'll beat around the bush. I'll beat around the bush with it. But if I've bought a game 3 times, I have no qualms against downloading it because I can't find a CD.
Oh yeah.
Like I don't care.
So I mean, like, when DVD players came out and you could be able to burn movies to a DVD, then I'd burn a movie to a DVD and watch it that way. But man, that just got tedious and time consuming. And then I'm like, I found this one product. And I thought it was pretty good because it was a streaming thing and it went by radio frequency. And so you can plug it into your computer and then plug it into your TV and it would basically stream your video signal down to yours. And it worked pretty good. The resolution wasn't great and you really had to tweak the antenna to get the picture to be pretty decent. And it was all good until you wanted to make some microwave popcorn and it just screwed everything up. You try to use your microwave and just screwed it all up. Yeah. But yeah, that was even when Blu-ray was coming out. I'm like, okay, Blu-ray is great, but I really want to take the content from my computer and put it onto my TV. What's an easy way to do that?
No, I had a Windows XP Media Center PC that I built myself. And I had live TV through it. I had a capture card that
I did too.
That I would set up as a DVR. And no, screw it. I'm not paying $15-20 a month to the cable company so they can give me a cable box with a hard drive in it. I'm just going to build myself a media PC because then I can game and I can watch my DVDs and I can also watch live TV and I can pause and record and rewind and everything else that comes with it. Chad is telling me to quit telling on us. Do you realize the reason that I did my VPN gateway video? Like, I'm not going to spell it out for you. But if you can feed any device that you want through a VPN with an automatic kill switch, what do you think I'm implying there? Like, I'm not stupid.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. My dad had that RF transmitter to broadcast. I thought it was horrible. It probably was.
Yeah, it was horrible. I mean, it was good for what it was, and I think I used it for a couple of months before I'm just like, all right, I got to find something better. Because it was interesting, and somebody was thinking the right way of thinking. But because streaming technology just wasn't there at the time, so they were forward thinking, but just tech was not there yet.
Yep. Yeah, no, I had so many weird esoteric media devices in my living room in the early to mid 2000s.
Yeah.
I remember vividly in about 2001, I had built my first PC that had video output to the TV. I had an S video out on my video card.
Yep.
And so I had a TV just in our downstairs living room, or a computer in our downstairs living room with Windows 98 installed on it. And I would
plug it directly into it.
I'd S video directly to the TV, and I would sit down in front of it, and I'd plug in my keyboard and mouse, and I'd launch my game. And then I had a game port extension cable to reach my couch. And so I had a 6-foot extension to, do you remember the Microsoft Sidewinder?
The boomerang
the boomerang one. I had one of those, which was a 15-pin gamepad.
That's I still have a Sidewinder joystick that's got the game port on it.
So I had a 6-foot game port extender, so I could kind of reach my couch, which meant I was sitting on the couch kind of like this.
Yeah.
So, but I remember playing like Need for Speed 3 Hot Pursuit. It's like, eat it up, PlayStation. I'm on a PC right now.
Sitting on my couch doing PC gaming. No one else does that.
That's right. Here I was living in 2022, and in fact, it was 2001.
Yeah. Now, I remember doing that when we first got a projector. I took my PC
I also had a projector at one point.
And I put a projector up on my wall, and I was playing Unreal Tournament.
Yep. I've had a number of different projectors over the years. I had, the first house that I rented, I said, "Can I screw pictures into the walls?" They went, "Yeah, I don't see why not."
Do whatever. Yeah.
So I made myself a wall-mounted projector stand that my projector didn't have, or had very little keystone adjustment. So I had to center it with the screen that I was putting up. And I wanted to mount it nice and high so I could stand and still play, because this was in the Rock Band days, or very first Guitar Hero days.
Yeah.
And so I wanted to be able to stand and not like block it with my head. So I had to put it all the way up near the crown molding. So what I did was I put 2 hinges onto the wall with a little piece of plywood under it, so I could angle the projector from the ceiling.
Up and down,
And then I mounted it to the wall up at the very top of the wall with a couple of chains that came down, so I could get the angle just right, but hang it perfectly against the wall. Bought a 40-foot VGA cable and a 40-foot S-video cable, because I still had a DVD player and a couple other things that were S-video only. And rather than buy a converter box, just plug that thing in. So I had that projector. Right after my wife and I got married, I had bought a little projector. It was about this big, but it was a full-fledged halogen lamp projector that was 2,000 lumen. It wasn't one of the cheap, 10,000 lumen from an LED that you buy now on Amazon for like $60. No, this was a legit projector that was about this big with a full color wheel and halogen lamp and everything else. That was 2,000 lumens. I did a very similar thing in the first house that we bought, and I mounted it to the wall above our bed. Well, we had a 4-poster bed. So I hung a sheet over the end of the bed, draped across the 2 there. So we would lay in bed and have a 70-inch 4x3 screen in front of us.
It's like sleep-in theater.
Oh, it was amazing. Watching great. Friends and Frasier and all. In glorious 480p, because that's all it could do.
That's all it could do, yeah. Yeah, back then, that's all they did do.
Yep. That was good times. Like I said, I had a lot of really niche, esoteric, weird setups for visual media. We also did at one point a 67-inch Mitsubishi rear projection up on a desk in our room. It was one of the last DLP projection TVs. It was one of the super nice, like the Diamond Series Mitsubishis right before they stopped making them. That also had 3D, and it was 1080p, 120 hertz. Like, it was a beautiful TV. Like, I would still love a DLP in my house if I could, because they do outperform a lot of LCDs, and even today, OLED is finally starting to get there as far as black levels.
Get there,
but I don't want to pay $7,000 for a Q.
No, they're really expensive right now.
Yeah.
QLEDs are kind of
right. But yeah, so we had a 67-inch Mitsubishi Diamond 1080p 120 hertz screen, also in our bedroom at one point, just like propped up on a desk at the end of our bed. Now we have a 42-inch LCD, an RCA LCD, and it's terrible at that.
You're going backwards, man.
I know. 42 inches. What is this? The Middle Ages?
Yeah, what is that? I know. It's either 65 inches or higher.
The problem is our new bedroom. The way it's arranged, you can really only put the bed in the room one way that makes sense.
Right.
And well, you could put it against one of two walls, because our entrance is in the corner, and then on one wall is a closet door and then a window. And on the other wall is the bathroom door, right smack in the middle.
Right.
So we have our bed opposite the door that you walk in on. So we're facing the closet door.
Right.
But there's this much space between the door and the window. So just enough room to mount a TV mount on an arm, and I have it kicked sideways. So it's offset from the stud, and it's like over the front of the window, but we like never open that window. There's two windows in the room, so we're not blocking all of our natural light, but it's like that's the biggest screen that I can fit in the space.
Are you a side sleeper or a back sleeper?
I'm a side sleeper.
Oh, well, see, if you're a back sleeper, you just mount it on the ceiling.
Yeah, but then you get weird looks from everyone, especially when you put the camera pointing down. Like,
what's that there for? I just don't worry about it.
What's this? 3/4-inch eye bolt in the ceiling.
Oh man.
Yeah. In fact, my computer monitor is bigger than the TV in my room right now, because I've got the 43-inch LG 4K still as my daily driver. Like,
oh yeah, I remember
3.5, 4 years later. Yeah, still my daily driver is that 43-inch LG. Our TV is a 40-inch RCA. So 1080p. Sometimes.
Hey, well, I mean,
yep.
You can always get one of your VR, just wear that into bed.
I've done that a couple of times. Now, I've actually done a premium video on this that, like, my pie in the sky has been, I love video headsets. Not VR headsets, but video headsets. Video projection, flat plane headsets. I've always wanted one. I actually have owned a couple over the years. I have one right now. It's the Epson... what's the exact model number on it? Don't remember. Anyway, it's the something 30. It's a 720p 30 hertz screen. Now, the screen itself is freaking gorgeous. If you are watching video content on this, it is ungodly amazing. Because what it is two OLED projectors on the temples of the glasses that shoot forward and then bounce off a mirror and then hit a parallax lens that projects it back into your eye.
Wow.
From your side of things, you can't see anything. But from the user side of things, looking out through the glasses, I can see the image in full brightness and clarity and crispness, and still see through it if I want to. Oh, and they also have sunglasses that you can click over the top so you can block out the outside world if you want. And so they're phenomenal glasses, but good God, is the interface a pain in the... They use DisplayPort alt mode over USB-C. It's power data and video all in one. Number one,
so you have to have a cord in there the whole time.
Well, you have to have a cord in there, which not a big deal. If I'm tethering to my cell phone, cool.
Right, not bad.
Name me a cell phone that supports DisplayPort alt mode over USB-C.
Not that many.
That's a very small list, including all of the phones that I own. Not one of them does it.
Yeah.
Well, you could just plug into a laptop, right?
Yes, you could. But then you have to have the laptop close by.
The problem with DisplayPort alt mode over USB-C is it is not an exacting standard. And so even if you implement it, it doesn't mean that all of the features are there, including, say, power delivery.
Oh, so you
which is
get
kind
like
of important when you need to power a display over that single USB-C cable and get video and data to it.
So what is it? Is it run out of power or it just stops working? Or?
No, it'll recognize it as a display on some devices, like my M1 MacBook. I can plug it into the M1 MacBook and get no video because the projectors don't have enough power to turn on.
There you go.
So it sees an alternate display, but it goes, yeah, I don't care.
Okay.
Yep. It does not work with the Aya Neo. It does work with the Steam Deck in Arch Linux, believe it or not.
Wow.
Like
that's kind of cool.
Right. Yeah. Just use Linux. Holy crap. They were right for once. Right. It does work on that. Now, it is 720p, 30 hertz. It's not a great gaming experience. They do have a newer one, though. That's the D40 or something 40. That is a 1080p 60 hertz with a 40% larger screen area. And I kind of want one, but at the same time, I've already seen the limitations of trying to plug in that USB-C to various devices and having like a 5% success rate. So it works on the Steam Deck. It worked 50% of the time on the GPD Win 2. It did not work on the GPD Win 3. The only other device that I've been able to successfully repeatedly plug it in and have it display something was my 2080 Super, which has a USB-C port on it, which delivers USB-C, high power, and display.
What do you have that hooked onto?
My desktop below me.
So that doesn't really help that much.
It's not exactly mobile. Right.
Yeah,
and it's only a 3-foot cable. And if you plug an extension into it, sometimes it still won't work.
So good idea, just bad execution.
Right. And so it's a beautiful display, and god damn it if I don't want to use it on a lot of different devices, but it just doesn't. Yeah. Because it's like, to me, that is the ultimate like travel companion.
Yeah, that'd be great.
As someone who hates traveling and flying in particular, like I usually try to watch a movie or sleep on airplanes. That's all I can do. I don't like traveling. I have anxiety, and traveling is one of the things that really spikes me. That being said, I miss traveling and I want to travel more, but I don't like the traveling part. I like being there part. And then I don't like coming home, but I like the being home
Just
part.
knock me out, distract me on the way there.
Right. Yeah. I'm the give me 2 Valiums and a shot of Jack on the plane and I'll be just fine.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
But to me, that's the ultimate traveling companion, because you can just be watching a show on a fairly good sized screen. You're not bothering anyone around you. You're not hauling this giant device with you. The screen itself, or the glasses themselves, are thinner vertically than my glasses that I wear.
Oh, that's excellent. So it's very discreet.
Very discreet, fairly lightweight, very comfortable, single cable down to a cell phone or laptop or like a dedicated gaming console or something like that. Like, you can be in your own little world, but you don't have to like put on like an Oculus Rift or something like that.
It doesn't look like some ridiculous nerd thing attached to your head.
Right, exactly. It looks like, it looks like some nerd thing, but not some ridiculous nerd thing.
We're still in the nerd realm, just not the ridiculous nerd realm.
I know what you are, but at least you're chic.
Yeah. You're being quiet about it.
Right. And so, like I said, it's the ultimate travel companion, because you can just kind of, just like, a good set of like noise canceling headphones.
Yeah.
You can put on a set of Skull Candy earbuds or AirPods or whatever else and put on those glasses and just be dead to the world, but not be obnoxious or visible or anything. Like, you're just there, and I can travel, and I can get off the plane, and I can go about my day. And it travels in a bag that's like this big. So it's something that you can actually fit in your carry-on luggage or your laptop bag or your camera bag. So, yeah. But it doesn't work. It doesn't work well.
It doesn't quite work well.
It needs better adoption.
You need the right phone just to make it work.
Yeah, there's like 3 or 4 Samsung phones that support it. None of the Pixel devices do.
Which Samsung phones were supports it? Because I have the S9 Plus. I think that has.
Samsung has the widest support for that particular video output configuration.
I don't know if mine does. Be like, well, just let me borrow it.
Yeah, I mean, it's not doing me any good. Like I said, I have 2 different sets of video headsets. I have the Epson, the C30s, and then I also have the Zeiss Cinemizers, which is not a see-through display, but it is just as discreet. It's a very small, self-contained package. Single cable coming off the temple down to a little pack, and that pack has inputs on it. And so you can like plug in HDMI. The problem is, if it's anything more than a single cable, like once I have the cable running down my neck, I want to plug that straight into a device.
Right.
I don't want to go to a belt pack that has its own battery, which, by the way, has its own battery that has to be charged.
It's a little more clunky to adjust that around, yeah.
But then it's not even a micro display port. It's a full-size HDMI.
Oh, really? So you need HDMI cable.
Big old beefy cable, which, by the way, it's not on a belt clip. It's just on like this little square that you're supposed to like set somewhere. Which, by the way, I don't know if you've ever put weight on the back of your glasses.
Oh yeah, but it flips them up. Yeah.
Right. And
you get a belt buckle attachment for that. Just
right. I think they make one, but at the same time, you're encroaching into like uber nerd territory again. Like that, there's diminishing returns the more dongles you have to have.
Oh yeah. So you're becoming the nerd Batman with your utility belt of all nerdy things,
right?
Just attached to it.
Yeah. Yeah. Hold on.
Yeah.
I mean, I know they make those fancy travel cables. That's like the little spring retention that you can zip out and then stick them back in. I don't want 4 of those attached to my belt. Like, I just don't. So yeah, if anyone has a recommendation for a dedicated video headset, and I don't even care if it's 2 plugs on the end. If you got one for power that's like a USB 3, and then another one that's like an HDMI that I can hook up like a very small dongle to and get video and power all in one. I don't know. Like, Epson's the only one that I've seen. And the thing is, the Epsons are so good, it's almost worth putting up with the annoyances for it because the glasses themselves are so good. Like, I want to buy a device just to use those glasses for.
I was going to say, like, if you can find an older Samsung model that works with it, just use that for your dedicated
dedicated video player.
Yeah.
Right. The other cool thing, because you're displaying per eye, you could do side-by-side 3D. So watching, like, The Martian in 3D, or Sin City, or Avatar, or, like, you know, the movies that really sold 3D,
they work good, yeah.
Oh, they've nenever been better. That's the thing, is there's actually depth to the image, and there's actually, you know, it's not quite as good as putting on an Oculus Rift and sitting in the virtual theater and watching the movie that's out in front of you in full spatial 3D, because that's a trippy experience too.
Yes, I've done that before too. It's pretty cool.
Awesome. But in a tiny package that's barely bigger than a glasses case, it's the next best thing. So yeah, I guess, was it LG that was coming out with like a set of just like VR glasses, like self-contained VR glasses that are about that same size. Now they look like giant freaking aviators,
right?
But they don't have to wrap around your head.
They're not AR. They're actual VR, right? Yeah.
Right. Yeah, I'm trying to remember who made them. And at the moment, I think they're only available in Korea, which makes me want to think they're LG. Of course,
yeah.
But I've almost bought some and imported some just to try them out. Oh yeah, the LG U Plus Nreal. there they are. Augmented reality 1080p. They look like a pair of glasses.
Oh, so they are augmented reality.
Right. Yeah, they're augmented reality, but they work on a belt pack. And
so I was right. The bat belt.
Right.
Right. It's gonna work.
Yeah. So I'm gonna look at these again.
Yeah.
Yeah. I need to see if they're USB-C only but they're 1080p OLED. Sorry, 1980 by 1020. They're a really freaking weird resolution.
That's a weird resolution.
Yeah. But I mean, you can scale that.
Mm-hmm.
If I lose 10 pixels on the top and bottom,
whatever.
Who cares among friends, right? Yeah. I'm gonna. Oh, look! I'm already watching that same auction that I just found on eBay. I have search habits, everyone.
Well, are we finally ready to move on to the second story?
I think we are. As soon as I bring you this message from our sponsor.
That's right.
Today's episode is brought to you by none other than Linode. If you've ever needed to host your own servers, whether it be for home or business use, but don't have the resources to invest into time, hardware, power, cooling, or even space, why not let Linode host them for you? If it runs on Linux, it'll run on Linode. That includes the software for most of the tutorials on my channel, like how to run your own ad-blocking recursive DNS server, VPN gateway, your own cloud-based Plex server, and more. With shared CPU plans starting at as little as $5 per month and scaling up to as high as you need to go, you'll be able to find a hosting plan that fits your needs. And even if you do use Linode to keep even if you do host your own servers, you can use Linode to keep a backup off-site. Because remember, RAID is not a backup. Linode also recently announced they are the first alternative cloud provider to have NVMe block storage available to all customers. In September, they began rolling out NVMe drives to all 11 of their global data centers. Best of all, storage rates will remain at the same low price they always have been. Visit linode.com/craftcomputing and get a $100 60-day credit just for signing up for a new account. That's linode.com, and again, thanks to Linode for sponsoring today's episode.
I'll drink to that, Linode.
Yes. And one last thing before we get to the next story is I need to open my Rolling Thunder.
See, I did. I opened up my Fatality.
Nice.
So that's I think this is pretty high actually too, like 11.5. So this is kind of up there with your Rolling Thunder, which I think that one's got to be.
No, you're not even in the same ballpark.
It's like what, 14-15%, I think.
13.6.
Yes. Yeah. Okay. So I still have a story. We went to Rogue for a friend of mine's bachelor party.
Thin.
Yeah, and he doesn't know too much about beer, but he knows he likes darker beers, and so he was like, "Oh, you know what? I don't want to get wasted or anything like that. I'm just gonna have one beer."
The head's already gone.
I know it's thick.
No, thin.
No, isn't it usually it's thicker? It won't foam up as much because my head's gone too.
This was
pretty.
This was translucent. Like I could see.
Really? That's weird.
Hold on a sec.
Because usually the thinner it is, the more it'll foam.
Right. No, this was thin and didn't foam.
That's weird.
I mean, it's not
shining through that much. I can see a little bit, though.
You can see some of it, right?
Yeah.
Right. Name the last bourbon barrel-aged imperial stout that you could see a light through that wasn't John's weird non-alcoholic gluten-free crap.
No doubt. Usually it's because this one's like motor oil.
Yeah.
This one is thick.
This one is not. This one is like... I got it. This one is like warmed up maple syrup.
That's not necessarily a bad thing. But...
No. But you heat the water and then you put the jar of maple syrup in the glass and you let it sit there for a long time and really soak in that heat. Mm-hmm. It's about that same clarity and thickness. Like it's thick, but it's also thin and translucent. This is not going to have the body of a traditional
That's interesting because I remember having that before and I remember thinking it was pretty thick mouthfeel.
Yeah. I can tell you the smell is there. Oh my God.
good.
Oh,
Yeah, mine is quite good.
That is. It's still thin.
That's weird because I don't remember Rolling Thunder being thin.
Traditionally, it's not thin.
Yeah,
it is a very
Yeah,
it's a stout with a beard.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I'm not saying it is a bad way either. It's a quality, not a qualifier.
Well, the thing
is,
that
makes sense.
with it being that high ABV and it feeling kind of thin, it's a little more dangerous because you can chug that thing down a lot faster.
Yeah.
Usually the big, thick bourbon barrel-aged beers,
you got to chew on them for a while. You
kind of chew on them, so you just sip on them, and it takes you longer to get them down, and so you're not on your ass in about 5 minutes.
That is super dangerous. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, because this one right here is good, but it's definitely a sipper. You don't want to chug this one at all.
Boy, a lot of rich chocolate flavor in that. This is not a barrel-aged stout that is roasty by any means at all. Like if you're after roast, this is not the one for you. Even if you're after coffee, this is not the one for you.
Right.
Which is funny because in a thinner bodied beer, this is like maple syrup and milk chocolate and, dare I say, maybe even like peanut butter?
That would be interesting.
Yeah. I don't want to say peanut butter, but I kind of want to say peanut butter, if that makes sense. It's not what it is, but there's not peanut brittle.
Well, this ain't communist Russia. You can say whatever you want.
Right.
Yeah, no, mine's definitely on the dark chocolate roasty coffee side of things, with a definite, that kind of caramely flavor you get in bourbon barrel aged beers.
Yeah.
You definitely get this on the back end. So you kind of get dark chocolate, coffee, then kind of that caramelized bourbon flavor at the end.
This is like a milk chocolate and peanut brittle. Is how I would describe this one.
Definitely different.
Super unique in this realm of stouts.
Yeah,
super
that's kind of
unique.
Interesting because Rolling Thunder usually comes in bottles. I haven't seen them in a can. That must be new for this year.
Yeah, and this was only a 12-ounce can, so it's a skinny one.
Okay.
Which I like because normally they come in bottles.
Yeah, you don't want to drink a 22-ounce of a 14% beer.
I have so many bombers stored up right now that are
you have to
16% sometimes, and it's like I don't have that many friends who come over often enough and can stay for 3 hours.
Are you inviting me over to drink some of your beer, Jeff? Is that what you want? Okay, I'll come by.
What do I have? I've got some Firestone.
Oh, nice.
I've got that entire collection. Although no, that's only 12 ounces. But I've got that entire giant collection of Dragon's Milk alternates.
Oh, nice. Yes, I do want to try one of those.
Yeah.
Actually, I think
I have a Dragon's Milk triple mash, which is like a 16.5%.
Oh man, I want to try that. Because I've only tried one other Dragon's Milk besides the regular one. And to be fair, I kind of preferred regular Dragon's Milk over that one.
I've tried at this point, I think 4 different variants of it. Because I've had the Solara, I've had the horchata one, which was a weird one. I had that one on tap, actually.
Oh yeah.
Had the standard, and I want to say, I've had the Dragon's Milk White, the white one.
Yeah, that was the other one I had too, and I like it was okay, but I like the standard Dragon's Milk better.
Yep. All right. We're an hour and 10 minutes in, and I think we're finally ready for the second story.
Oh, how does the wine talk?
Yes. Now, to be fair, I didn't mind getting into the weeds in this show, and I kind of let the show get into the weeds because there's not a lot of news this week.
No, there isn't.
Yeah. Anyway, nVidia.
Yeah. Those bastards, they finally did it. They finally did it.
nVidia has released open source GPU kernel modules for Linux.
Yes.
Full
Those
open source.
Lads. Mad lads. They just went and did it.
Yeah. Jeff Geerling on the Epson conversation says we need that in contact lens form. I mean, yes. Yeah. Of course I'm paying attention. Why do you ask?
Yeah. Maybe when I get old enough to get cataract surgery, they'll have it just insert it right into my eyeball.
Right. Yeah, the iPhone 17.
the EYE, yeah.
EYE phone.
17. Yeah.
That was a Futurama reference, by the way.
Yep.
Anyway, nVidia. Is this opposite land?
Yeah, I know, right?
I feel like I'm on crazy pills. nVidia today open sourced their kernel module drivers for Linux. Now, to be fair, it's CUDA. It's the open source the CUDA, not the OpenCL, not OpenGL, not, but holy crap, what a first step.
I know. Once that crack is in there, it's just going to get wider at this point.
The fact that this is now available means that, I hate to put it this way, but the armor's been chinked a little bit. Like this is huge news. I mean, obviously this is huge news for enterprise data center, big data, AI, compute, etc. Obviously this is big. If they're willing to open source this kernel driver finally, are they willing to open source GeForce?
Now that's their bread and butter. So it'd be
data center is their bread and butter. Let's make no bones about that.
That's true. But as far as the enthusiast market goes, GeForce is their bread and butter. Gaming enthusiasts. Yeah.
Of course.
Yes.
Here's the deal. I mentioned, for the three of you who saw it, in the Ioneo review, SteamOS is going to be a much bigger deal, much faster than anyone thinks. And I mean anyone. There are some people who do nothing with their PCs other than game. It is a sit down, play a game. To that end, SteamOS, my very early review of SteamOS 3.0, viable alternative to Windows.
Really?
Viable alternative. And in some ways, the potential better choice to Windows. Now that's a lot to swallow, so hold.
Right.
My review is not done, but what I can tell you is I've played nigh on 30 games on SteamOS without a problem on a single one. I've not experienced a single crash. I've not experienced a single hiccup, a performance issue, a controller not working. This input is weird. Everything just works. And that's on a
crazy.
Handheld.
That's crazy.
I'm looking at putting it on a couple of desktops here and really starting to dive into the weeds with it. But so far, man, if this is their first release, and if they start getting driver adoption and implementation like nVidia, Microsoft may be in trouble long term. Now, obviously, enterprise is still Microsoft's bread and butter. They could really care less about the consumer side, except for all the money that they make in ad revenue. People going, I've never seen ads inside of Windows. You haven't been paying attention because live tiles are a thing.
Yep, they've been there for a long time.
Microsoft Edge recommending you to MSN sites, which, where do you think they get your browsing history data from? Oh, and by the way, the browsing data inside of Chrome is used to feed you MSN information you might click on. So, but SteamOS with proper driver implementation. And they've already got it from AMD, and they've almost got it from Intel. And man, if the market starts demanding it from nVidia, Microsoft could be in trouble on the consumer space as far as enthusiast gamers go.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, a dedicated OS for just Steam. Well, I mean, I guess
that's the thing. That's the thing. Hold on. It's not just a dedicated OS that happens to run Steam. Okay? Because of the Proton implementation, and if they could make it so I could just double click on an exe and it would just
run,
which there's no reason they can't at this point, because I can add any executable into Steam that I want and it will launch it with Proton. I've been playing the crap out of Borderlands lately. If you want to have some real fun with Borderlands, you can download a save game editor, and you can like up the stats of some of your current guns, which is fun to do. You know, every couple of know. So at first, I was diving into the weeds, finding the save game file for Borderlands 2 on my Steam Deck, and then I mounted a network share and transferred the save file over so I could access it from my Windows PC, and then launched the save game editor, and then edited the file, and then copied it back, and then got on the Steam Deck and copied it back off the network share onto the proper folder, and then launched Borderlands and went, hey, look, this gun is now 400 damage instead of 150. Like, it's fun, right?
Just mow everything down. It's cool, yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Headshot. I don't feel it's cheating on a sniper rifle, because if I shoot you in the temple, you should die.
Yeah.
It's usually what I edit is I'll go in there and like, that sniper rifle's not nearly realistic enough.
Maybe it's not as fun as when you're fighting a boss and like you snipe them with one shot in their head.
Well, it takes like 4 shots for a boss.
Okay, 4 shots at least, you know.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not... Anyway. The thing is, I went, why am I finding the save file and copying it to a network share, and then getting onto another computer, copying it off the network share onto the local PC, launching the save game editor, editing the file, saving it, copying it back to the network share, getting back on the mobile device, copying it to the save game data, and then launching the game? Maybe I could just launch the save game editor on the device? Yes, you can.
Or maybe you can remote into the device itself from a desktop.
Yes, you can.
Yes, you can. There you go.
Yes, you can. So yeah, the gibbed Borderlands 2 save game editor works perfectly inside of Proton.
Nice.
What
about other launchers like Epic or Origin or
Epic Game Store? Runs inside of Proton. Nice. Good old GOG Galaxy runs inside of Proton.
Nice.
You can launch the launcher and you can launch your executables.
Wow.
If you're the kind of person who does repack games occasionally, which all of the games that I've ever shown on my channel, I own usually multiple copies of. I also sometimes like just having a repack of it, which is an always offline, DRM free, cracked version of it that I'll download from specific websites. You can also install it directly from the repack installer and then run the game. And that runs too. And it just works. And this is not just talking about game execution. This is potentially talking about like Windows executables just working inside of Linux.
Wow.
A form of emulation, if you will.
Now it's starting to make sense why Windows is starting to do Linux executables.
Subsystem for Linux.
Subsystems, yes.
Right.
They're like, oh, we'll just have the synergy now. We'll just all work off of each other. It's fine, right?
Yeah. So I'm here to tell you that very early results is Windows and Microsoft on the consumer side of things should be just a little bit afraid.
Probably, yeah, because there's a lot of things that people don't like about Windows.
Yep.
And if there's going to be a good alternative, I mean,
And
I've already set up a few of my friends up. They're like, I don't care. I just want to browse. I'm like, well, I got an operating system for you.
right?
It looks like Windows, and you can just double click the browser just like Windows, and it'll still work.
Yep.
I'm like, okay, that's fine, and they're happy with it.
Yeah. Honestly, I've been using the Steam Deck for a lot more than just playing games too. Like I've been using the desktop environment and using the trackpad and whatnot, and it's like, what else? What other kind of trouble can I get into this with this thing? Right. I mean, there's obviously no keyboard, and that's definitely the main limitation of the device when you're talking about like a full laptop replacement. Right. But as far as a pick it up and browse the web or watch a video or, you know, numerous other tasks that we use mobile computers for, boy, the Steam Deck with just a little trackpad. Oh, and if you need to click exactly on something, you can just touch the damn screen. Boy, it's a good little device. Nice. I'm Certifiable. Is the new SteamOS still based off Debian? No, it is not based off Debian. It is based off Arch. They abandoned the Debian kernel for Arch because you get more up-to-date packages more often. It is a rolling update distribution where you can update different modules, you can update different packages, and you don't necessarily have to have an upgraded kernel just to, you know, redo everything else. So Debian has its limitations. Arch still has its limitations, and in fact, Arch is still the Dark Souls of Linux.
You really have to know what you're doing.
You got to know what you're doing. But it is not unconquerable, and in fact, as SteamOS starts to broaden its reach a little bit, man, I think Windows could be in some major trouble when it comes to consumer operating systems, specifically within the gaming space. I'm not going to say their days are numbered, but I'm going to say this may be a situation where, like, wow, Chrome's a great web browser. Maybe a third of us should just move over to that. Yeah. Like, I'm not talking like, well, we're 6%. Yeah. Like Linux celebrating. We finally hit 2% of overall users using Linux in the world. I'm talking like Firefox, Chrome, and IE existing all simultaneously, and Chrome happening to be SteamOS in this case.
Wasn't that one of Gabe Newell's like goals, was to be completely like independent of Windows in general, to be like, look,
indeed it was.
We can be our own. We can have our own destiny. We're not beholden to Windows, type of a thing.
The other thing is that when Windows 8 was announced, not released, but announced, they were announcing Metro applications, which became made for Windows apps. It's modern UI apps.
The little tile apps.
The tile apps, and the like, we're going to open in a weird window. That's those are what's called modern UI and used to be called Metro applications. Microsoft was threatening on consumer-based applications to only allow approved Metro UI applications, which means like an app store, you would have to go through an approval process and be placed on the Microsoft Store and be a download only from Microsoft, and Microsoft would get a, transaction fee for people downloading things off their platform, as well as buying things off of your application. So if Steam wanted to be on Windows, Steam would have to pay, 20% of every user transaction, which sounds great for Microsoft shareholders, but not so great for Valve shareholders. Because all of a sudden, we're going to give up 20% of our overall revenue just to exist on Windows?
I don't think Valve is publicly traded, though. Is it?
It might be private. I think it's private.
I'm pretty sure it's private.
I think it's private. But this news was going around in like 2010, 2011. And you might notice that in 2012, Valve announced SteamOS. we'll make our own operating system with blackjack and hookers.
Hookers, yeah, exactly.
And suddenly Microsoft backtracked. That was Valve pushing back against Microsoft and saying, no, you're not going to win on this. We will make this work. And while SteamOS was never really a consumer success, as I mentioned in my first 2 videos, it was definitely a shot across the bow. It was saying, we don't need you to be able to function. If we want to move 70% of our games library over to Linux, we can.
Yeah.
And you can be left with, the Xbox plebs who want to remain on Windows. But we will take our audience elsewhere.
The Microsoft Windows Game Store is atrocious.
It's
God,
terrible.
It's terrible. It is absolutely horrible.
But Microsoft then rescinded on those comments and said, well, we're going to let all applications still run, but we're still going to kind of promote the Windows Store. And you can see the state of the Windows Store as it always existed, which is just an utter fecal pile of garbage that no one else wants. Yeah. Unless you're Cinebench and took a bunch of money and then even had to release your Windows application on C20 later on because of the consumer backlash. Because it's I'm not going to download Cinebench through the Windows Store just to benchmark a PC. Are you freaking kidding me? Right. So I know that's a long way to go from nVidia open-sourced CUDA kernel plugin drivers.
Yes.
Or kernel module CUDA drivers. To the future of Windows and SteamOS.
Hey, but it's a piece of sand in the heap.
It is all related.
Yep. It's a piece of sand in the heap, and pretty soon you're going to have a giant avalanche.
Yep. Yeah, Proton works on any distro. I'm using it with Steam on Fedora. Yeah, I've used it on Debian before. In fact, my last test with Proton was on Ubuntu Debian 2004 LTS. With an updated Mesa package and custom AMD drivers, and my result was 19 out of the 20 games that I tried to launched and played very well, and the only one that didn't was Steep, which was reliant on anti-cheat and a standalone launcher, I believe, from Ubisoft.
Ubisoft has a launcher,
But there was only one game that didn't want to run. 19 out of 20 ran, and that was over 2 years ago.
Wow.
3 years ago now, actually.
Probably working fine now.
Right, I'm sure it is.
Well, yeah, because if Proton executes other launchers and
most anti-cheat software has all of a sudden become available for Linux, and so they're like, yeah, the more the merrier. Bring it on over. There's a heaping ton of games that are actually playable, and I don't mean just playable, but invisible.
I see a lot of people mentioning Mint, Linux Mint. That's the one that I install for other people. Like, well, I don't really care, and I'm like, well, I'll put Mint on there for you because it's very much like Windows in a sense. And people just like, oh yeah, it just looks like it's familiar to them.
Ubuntu and Mint are kind of the two distros that get the most if you're coming from Windows and you just want to be done with Windows, this is the most Windows-like that you can get.
Yeah.
And even if you go one step beyond and go, well, what's beyond Ubuntu? It's go Pop! OS, because Pop! OS is amazing. No one goes, just install Arch, because Arch is, like I said, the Dark Souls of Linux.
Dark Souls, yeah.
But all of a sudden, Valve is going, yeah, we're going to build SteamOS on Arch, because we can do a rolling distribution method. And it's working.
Yeah.
It's working, and it's coming, and man, is there going to be a dichotomy shift in the industry unless Microsoft does something to seriously try to circumvent it, but I don't think they can at this point. I think the tidal wave is coming.
We'll see what happens in the next couple of years, because it really looks like it's shifting that way, isn't it?
It really does. I mean, I'm not going to say that I'm one to call trends, but I'm pretty good at seeing large market shifts. If it's just a thing that I can do. I don't know.
It might be to the point where
I can see it
Microsoft,
from the implementation and the consumer standpoint,
well,
and I see both of these working in this instance.
I can see where like Microsoft might get to the point where they'll start distributing Home Edition for free, because you can get any Linux distro for free, right?
It better frickin' be free.
So then they're like, well, if Linux can do everything we can do, we're going to have to compete to stay in that market, because they're going to be a service at that point, right?
Mm-hmm.
Then they're like, okay, well, let's just give out Home for free, just like Linux gives out things for free. Just to stay competitive, they're going to have to do that. They'll incorporate all their services into it, of course,
right?
And their ads and stuff like that. But that's probably what it's going to come to,
right? There's two things I see Microsoft doing to head off this curve. Number one, Windows Home goes free.
Mm-hmm.
Now, to all the people who are all of a sudden going to comment, well, Windows has been free for years. Windows is only free if you already had a Windows license.
Yeah.
New computers are still a thing, and someone pays for that license, whether it's you or whether it's the manufacturer you bought it from, or you pirated it. Like there's only two explanations. Someone paid for the license, or someone didn't pay for the license and probably should have. Yeah. But Windows is still a paid product. Unfortunately, Windows is also turned into an operating system as a service, which means it is ad-supported, data collection-driven, for the shareholders, anti-consumer. It is everything that the Linux community said it would be, but 15 years ago.
Yeah.
And no, I'm not giving the Linux community credit, because Windows XP was not that. You said Windows XP was that, so bite me. But what I will say is Windows is that now. Counterpoint. Windows Home will be free, but it's free as a service.
Yes, that's
where you have a Microsoft account, you have to use your Microsoft account, yada, yada, yada. I believe there will still be paid versions of Microsoft that are ad and data collection free, and you'll have Windows 11 Pro for workstations.
The Pro and Enterprise and all those other editions that they need for it. Servers, of course.
For HIPAA compliance, you can't deliver ads to medical machines.
No.
For God's sakes. There's always going to be an operating system. Whether Linux wants to take that crown, which, who knows, with Proton gaining traction as an open source platform, if proprietary Windows software may start looking at Linux and going, you know what? I'd rather be on there. Or as the operating system itself, you can't, in a medical or state-run environment, rely on data collection for revenue, because it's flat out against policy, or worst case, illegal to do so. So Windows, by many, many different contracts, has to release a version of Windows that is HIPAA compliant. The version of Windows for Windows 10 was Windows 10 Enterprise, or Windows 10 LTSC, which was also an enterprise variant, which didn't get the mainstream updates, but got all the security patches, and then got once every 3 to 4 year major updates.
Which is probably what hospitals just want anyway.
Exactly. And that's what most professional environments want. We want everything to run fine for 3 years until we need to reevaluate it, and then we'll redeploy and we'll reimage everything, because that's part of our normal stance. Like, we'll get, whatever. That's how we do it. And that's how it's always been done. And guess what? That's how it's always going to be done, because that's the way the world works. The current version of Windows that you can get, that is ad-free, data collection-free, yada, 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 is Windows 11 Pro for workstations. Not just Pro, because Pro still forces you into a Microsoft account and still does data collection and still does, recommended ads and recommended applications that it pre-installs onto your freaking computer. Windows 11 Pro for workstations does not. Now, Microsoft also won't sell you that version.
No.
You got to find alternative means. I don't have the right hat near me, but if you can find alternative means, that's the version of Windows you can get. It's the version of Windows that I run.
You're not wearing your eye patch right now, so you can't really tell them where.
Well, my Captain Jack hat's all the way across the room.
Yeah. You can also get it if you have an MSDN account too, if you want.
Mm-hmm. Can you even do MSDN accounts anymore? I didn't think that was a thing anymore.
Oh yeah, I still have one.
Do you?
Yep. Oh yeah.
Okay.
I get all the versions of Windows OS.
So do I, but
I mean, yeah, no, I mean, like they'll give me like proper licenses and everything.
I'm going to quote one of my favorite like early YouTube channels, which was Cars and Cameras. For anyone who watched this, it started out as like a car and camera review channel, but eventually they started doing crap with go-karts, and it became a go-kart channel, which was amazing because it was like, let's take like a Harbor Freight 660 Predator engine and strap it onto 2 axles and a drive chain. And
just see what happens,
and see how, and the line I always remember was there was like your traditional like North Carolina guy, and then there was this tall, skinny, blonde guy with really short hair who talked with a very thick Southern draw. And I don't remember his name. I apologize. This was like 2010 is when I watched this. But he used to like go, well, you shouldn't do it this way, but we're just going to weld this axle in place because it's for testing purposes only. And testing purposes only was his mantra of like, do as I say, not as I do.
Right.
So I have every version of Windows that I can test on, and it's for testing purposes only.
Purposes only, yes, of course.
Right.
Yeah. Gotta make sure it works on all of them, just in case.
Right.
Yeah.
All right, we got a little bit of time left. I'm going to skip the beer review or the beer news. Let's just do that next week.
There wasn't really much anyway.
There are a couple notes that I do want to get to here. One of them is entertainment related, and that is the estate of the late Boba Fett.
Yes.
So the original actor who played Boba Fett, Jeremy Bulloch, you may not know, he was the actor who portrayed Boba Fett in the original trilogy. Not the remakes, not the remasters. He was the original standing on the Star Destroyer, glaring at Bosk from across the aisle.
Yeah, he was in Empire Strikes Back, just sitting there.
Empire Strikes Back, and then he was again in Return of the Jedi. Never said a line, but was just that intimidating character that they wrote full canon about, just like Blue Jeans guy.
It was kind of funny because I was watching a documentary, and the original draft of Empire Strikes Back was going to have Boba Fett a lot more involved.
Mm-hmm.
In fact, he was going to have a whole squad of
Mandalorian hunters.
Yeah, Mandalorian hunters that they're just like him. And I think their armor was going to be white. It was going to be white.
Yeah.
Actually.
It was supposed to be like an Empire-ish fleet of bounty hunters. And instead of being like Bosk and IG-88 and that Twi'lek chick and whatnot, it was going to be a band of Mandalorians. And it was the original call for this. In the end, Boba Fett essentially had no lines.
Yeah.
He was just the intimidating figure. And honestly, it worked out well for the character in general.
It obviously did for someone who had absolutely no lines.
Right.
Although he actually did have lines before Empire Strikes Back, if you want to count the Star Wars Christmas special animated part of it. Because Boba Fett was in there, and he did have lines in that.
If I'm not going to count the 10 minutes of non-subtitled Wookiee dialogue at the beginning, I'm also not going to count his lines.
It's got Chewbacca's wife, Mala. She's from Walla Walla.
This beer is way too good for this conversation.
His son's name is Lumpy. Oh, God, the Christmas special is so bad.
Chewbacca, Mala, and Lumpy.
Yeah. I think his dad's name was Itchy. I can't remember. His
something.
His father-in-law or his dad. I don't remember what his name was.
I have to imagine that was like a third-person joke from George Lucas.
No,
that
I
no,
think
no, no,
I-
no, no, no. Let
Okay,
let me
okay.
finish. Let me finish.
Okay.
The premise of this is like Chewbacca's a little bit of a dick, right? And so he has a life debt to Han Solo because Han Solo rescued him from slavery, from the Empire, and now I'm, your indentured servant, good sir. And it's like when Chewbacca says his own name, he doesn't just say Chewbacca. He gives the guttural groans and moans and whatnot of the Wookiee language, right?
Yeah.
And if you know the Wookiee language, you can interpret, oh, Chewbacca. Okay, cool. Or you wrote it down and I'm just going to phonetically Chewbacca.
Yeah.
Like, I get it. Okay?
Yeah.
To the second layer of this is Chewbacca going, oh yeah, this is my son.
Yeah.
And whatnot. And how do you say that? Mommy. And
Chewbacca, like, oh, it's Lumpy.
And Chewbacca goes, you know what? Just call him Lumpy.
Yeah.
And so then Chewbacca turns to his son and goes, they're going to call you Lumpy, and it's okay. That's how they say your name.
Yeah.
But meanwhile, Chewbacca's going as the translator between the two groups. Like, I just have to imagine that's how it went down.
He's throwing shade on his own son, man.
Totally is. It's my wife, Mala, and this is Lumpy. Damn it, Dad!
He's low-key trying to get him to work out more. It's just like...
This is my son, Lumpy.
Yeah, he just sits around the house watching holograms.
But I digress. So, Jeremy Bullock's estate. Jeremy Bullock passed away a couple years ago. And his estate put up all of his Boba Fett merchandise and screen-used assets for sale. I'm actually surprised this brought in as little as it did.
I would have thought it would be much more. Actually.
Because holy crap, I would have gone thirds with this on you. Like, if you can find another buyer, like, we'd have done this.
Yeah.
Like it can live at your house on alternate weekends. like we would have done this.
Yeah.
And that is Boba Fett's memorabilia from the original Star Wars trilogy sells for £155. This is the original screen-used set of costumes, props, guns, everything, as well as his personal memorabilia that he collected over the years, including all of his stormtroopers and droids, and
it was quite extensive too. I
and
watched
celluloids,
yes,
like original 35 millimeter like cuts of the original trilogy. Like, holy crap, £155,000. I don't mean to sound like a snotty rich guy, but good Lord, the amount of value that was probably in that estate is astounding, especially to the right collector.
Yeah, that sounds like a real bargain.
Yeah. I could have swore they were missing at least 1 0 on this estate.
I would have thought it wouldn't go for at least $500,000. Easy.
Yeah. Oh, I mean, I could have seen 7 digits on this. Like, if you would have told me what was in this, I would say, oh yeah, like Matthew McConaughey's stupid enough to drop 7 digits on this. So,
all right.
surely someone has it. I mean, Johnny Depp's money's tied up in litigation right now, but which he's going to win.
Yeah.
I love that. Not to get into the weeds, but I love that the defense's their entire defense is hinged on, we don't know if she actually wrote this op-ed. And in her opening statement in her deposition was, why are you here today? I'm here because I'm being sued by my ex-husband for an op-ed that I wrote. It's like, ugh. I can just see the lawyer face palming. Like, that's their entire defense is, maybe she didn't write this. Great moment in court.
I've watched a few court dramas on TV, but watching some of that live coverage of that trial, it's been honestly some of the greatest entertainment
I've
watched in a long time.
I'm not one who's
I
really
don't either.
into like Entertainment Tonight, Extra.
Yeah.
I am not into the celebrity scene or pop culture at all. Like I could give a rat's behind who's screwing who and who just signed $1 million deal with this. Like, I'm excited about the media they produce, but I could care less about the person.
About what's behind it, yeah, of course.
But this court case has been... Boy, if she hadn't already ruined her career, the acting that she's done on the stand did that for her.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
How can you go from Stone Cold Steve Austin to Battered Wife in 3 seconds? Because she's like, and then he approached me. And what was he wearing? He was wearing his white leather jacket. And
yeah. It's like, she didn't quite get the stage direction that time.
No. The bump of the cocaine off the tissue too.
What's my motivation again, guys? What's my motivation? Okay.
Oh, right. I'm no longer going to get alimony.
Yeah, that's okay. Okay. All right. Yeah.
Crap. They're going to go off my revenue now? I can't do that.
Oh.
No, I'm still living off that pirate money. Anyway, this is exciting.
Yes.
This next one's exciting. Steve, did you read this one?
No, I did more than just read this one.
Thank you. This is exciting.
Yes.
Duke Nukem Forever. The preempt to can Valve make a third game?
Yeah.
You know, we've got Left 4 Dead, we've got Left 4 Dead 2. We've got Half-Life 1, we've got Half-Life 2, we've got Half-Life 2 Episode 2, we've got Half-Life 2 Episode Lost Coast.
Yeah, which was not much.
Can Valve count to 3 for the love of God?
No, they're just trolling us at this point.
They really are.
They're gonna have Left 4 Dead 4 before they have Left 4 Dead 3.
Here is an amazing original franchise. It was so successful, we're gonna make a second one. Let's do something else now. Like, no. Like, at least Portal ended in a very good way. Like, at least I can say that. At least Portal had a 1 and a 2.
Yeah.
And you teleported to the top, and you're in a wheat field.
2 was absolutely great.
2 was amazing.
2 was like the pinnacle.
Right. But the meme is, can Valve count to 3? Do you know what the original meme was? When is Duke Nukem Forever going to come out?
Yep.
Because Duke Nukem Forever is a game that was based off of Duke Nukem 3D. It was a sequel to Duke Nukem 3D.
Yep.
Which was a 3D Realms game on the Build engine in 1996.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
96.
I still remember playing the hell out of it.
Oh.
I loved Duke Nukem 3D.
Right.
So much more.
Right. My parents wouldn't let me have it, but I had it.
Well, I can't imagine why.
Right.
But
maybe it had to do with tossing 20s at strippers. I don't know.
Yeah, shake it, baby.
Yeah. Where else am I going to learn the proper amount to tip, Dad?
Of course, yeah. I mean, you're not taking me to strip clubs.
Yeah.
I got to learn it from playing video games.
Right. I didn't learn it from watching you.
Duke Nukem taught me everything.
Right. Taught me how to be cordial to a lady. Taught me how, yeah, Duke Nukem taught me how to be a man. If it really comes down to it. I'm kidding. But anyway, Duke Nukem Forever was always that project that never became something. Right.
It was the ultimate vaporware for so long.
For 20 years. It was Duke Nukem's coming.
It's coming.
Duke Nukem's coming back. And it's going to be big. Oh, yeah, baby. It was teased as the ultimate next generation thing before next generation meant anything. Like we were in the era of Nintendo 64 and they were just starting to GameCube was barely a twinkling in Nintendo's eye. We didn't know what next generation console or PC meant.
Right.
And we're talking about a sequel to Duke Nukem 3D. And it's going to be the next leap forward in gaming. It was supposed to be Half-Life 12 years before Half-Life was Half-Life.
Oh, yeah. When that trailer dropped, man. Man, that trailer was that got everybody's mouth salivating.
Yeah,
everybody was like,
what was
this
that?
is going to be the best.
E398.
I think it was. Yeah, it was pretty early on.
Yeah. But think about like the hype that Star Citizen or No Man's Sky or Cyberpunk 2077. Think about the hype that those games got.
Duke Nukem was like way more.
Duke Nukem was bigger.
Yeah.
Duke Nukem at its peak was a bigger IP than any of those.
Oh yeah. Because at the time, because like we had Duke Nukem 3D, which was a lot of fun, but it was based on like a similar engine to Doom. And then we got Quake, and then we got Half-Life, and the whole realm of like playing in a true 3D world just blew everybody's mind. And then Duke Nukem was like, well, we're gonna make a sequel.
Yeah.
We're gonna make it just like that, and everyone's like, amazing, can't wait, let's do this. Hype was through the roof.
Yes. So, for those who don't know, Duke Nukem 3D was built on the Build engine. It's an engine that also was famous for Shadow Warrior, for Will Shatner's TechNet.
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah, that's right.
Right?
Yeah,
those were all Build engine
right.
games. It's a very distinct and unique game engine. Anyway, so Duke Nukem 3D was the precipice of that engine. Like, it was like, we've reached the finality of what we can produce with this engine. Duke Nukem Forever was announced in 1997. Okay. Its first iteration was going to be Quake 2. Was going to be built on the Quake 2 engine.
Quake 2 engine, yes.
In 98, it was announced that it was going to be built on the Unreal Engine. In 2003, it was announced that Take-Two was taking issue and potentially purchasing, what is the software company?
Are you talking about Gearbox?
3D Realms. 3D Realms.
Oh, 3D Realms. Well, 3D Realms was as Apogee 3D Realms was.
Yeah, Apogee 3D Realms. 3D Realms was the studio. Apogee was the developer, or the studio house. Anyway, there was like this up in the air. Is Take-Two Interactive of Grand Theft Auto, not even fame yet, but like the producer who eventually made Grand Theft Auto, going to buy Duke Nukem? And then 2007, 3D Realms goes, we're out of money. We can't do it anymore. We're declaring bankruptcy. Our studios are closing. That's it. They hung around until 2009, to their credit.
Well, there was, I mean, because like with this leak came out a lot of dialogue about, 3D Realms and stuff like that. And there's a lot of people that basically say that Duke Nukem Forever was the cause of their collapse. It was basically it was the bottomless pit that they just kept throwing money in that never came anything out of it.
Now remember that I said there were at least 3 engines announced. It went from the Build engine to the Quake 2 engine to the Unreal Engine. The reason that's important is because they were shooting to be the first, like, Duke Nukem was released in late 95, early 96, something like that.
Yeah, around 96, 97. Around that time.
Yeah, 96. Think around this time what games were out. Half-Life wouldn't be a thing until 98.
Nope.
GoldenEye 007 wasn't out until 98.
Wasn't even there. Yeah, we had Doom.
Right, we had Doom.
And Wolfenstein.
But as far as first-person shooters, it was Duke Nukem 3D in 1996, and then Quake and Quake 2 in 96 and 97. And then you can also toss in like Dark Forces 2 Jedi Knight as a game that was also paramount in like first-person shooter. 97. Like Duke Nukem 3D was right there in the mix of all of those major games. And so the fight was, we want to be the first game that defines what 3D first-person shooting is going to be about. That was the goal. That was the goal from the onset. And we want it to be over the top, and we want it to be the highest possible fidelity graphics and the smoothest gameplay and the best physics engine that we can cram into it. And like the demands from management, while admirable, were also demands.
Yeah.
And so originally it was going to be a modified build engine game where they were going to pull a Bethesda and go like, yeah, we'll take the build engine and make like 3D models into it. And it looked terrible. And so they scrapped that and said, screw it, we'll go with Quake 2.
Quake 2.
We'll use Quake 2's engine. But we'll upscale all of the potential limitations. You know, we'll like triple the amount of polygons that we can use, and we can do this and this, and it'll be amazing. And that's the trailer that dropped in 98 was on the Quake 2 engine, and it did look amazing. Like, holy crap, looking into Duke Nukem's face and seeing a 3D rendering of Duke Nukem in 1997, 98.
Yeah.
It was like looking into the Eye of Neo, which, by the way, also released in 1998. But then they weren't really happy with it. Like, they weren't getting where they wanted to be with it.
What the deal was, from what I understand from reading different accounts and stuff like that, is they were so obsessed with making the game right. And they didn't really put a lot of resources on. The team was very small, so progress was very slow.
The team was like 7 people.
Yeah, it wasn't huge, and so they were very focused on it. That's like all they did, but the progress is so slow that new technologies and new engines came out. And they're like, well, if we release this game now,
we're going to be the laughing stock because no one cares about Quake 2 anymore.
Yeah, it's going to look like garbage compared to what's out there now. So, well, we have to. We don't want this to be ass. So let's go move it to the next engine. Yep. Well, that delayed it some more because they have to convert all the assets. They have to convert everything else and stuff like that. And nothing's one-to-one ever. So there's going to be a whole effort to make sure everything works in the new engine.
Yeah.
So there's all this delay.
Yep, and then just when you think it couldn't be delayed anymore, they went, ooh, the Quake 2 engine's looking a little long in the tooth. Like, man, that Unreal, she's the new belle of the ball. Yeah, that's the hot chick at the dance that you want to get with. Like, we need to take her home. Tell you what, convert all your assets and programming and whatnot again, and we'll do this again. So at that point, 3D Realms is like flipping tables and whatnot.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So I can't imagine the thoughts inside the 3D Realms developers of literally working on this game for 2 years, having the table flipped on you, working on it for another 2 years to convert the work that you did in the first 2 years into another engine, and then going, no, we're gonna switch to the Unreal Engine now. It went through 4 engine changes from announcement to
insane.
Yeah. And honestly, the game that we ended up getting
was just
it
wasn't great.
Should have stayed vaporware.
Yeah, I mean, it was such a. I mean, to be fair, if the game that we got was what we got maybe right after Duke Nukem 2, but maybe with a Quake 2 engine, we probably would have been okay. But like, okay, this is fine, you know,
right?
It would have been okay. I mean, it's not groundbreaking, obviously, but at the time, but it would have been fine. I don't know. Were you able to download the Git distribution and?
I have not taken a look at it yet.
Okay.
I kind of want to throw it onto Steam Deck.
Okay, it's a little kludgy. I did download it.
Did you?
Messed with it.
Okay.
Yeah, it reminded me a lot of the Half-Life 2 leak.
Mm-hmm.
And I know a lot of people have already messed with the leak and actually kind of made it a little more playable. But the copy that I got, you could play parts of the level, but the transitions aren't there. So you can get to a certain point,
and then you have to load another map. Right.
You have to load another map, and then you can continue on.
Okay, that makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's the version that I have.
And for a game of that day, that's not.
But to be honest, if I was to play what was released in 2001, what was released now, I would have been happy.
Yeah,
I would have been fine with it. It'd be like, oh yeah, this is a Duke Nukem game. This is great.
Yeah,
and actually, it looks great.
See, I haven't even looked at any, like, I read the article, and that's all I did.
I honestly, I was playing it the other day because there's a part where you go, because you're Duke Nukem, you own a casino, right? You go down to the casino floor, and you can actually play the slot machines, and you can play video poker. I sat there and played video poker for at least 20 minutes.
Nice.
I was like, I'll play some video poker.
Yeah.
I'm like, this is kind of fun. I'm like, back in 2001, to be able to have that type of interaction,
right,
to actually play like the little mini game, would have been like, oh, this is super cool.
Right. The closest we got to that in Duke Nukem 3D was being able to hit the space bar on the pool table and bounce.
I don't have
and
I don't
knock
have
the
time
cue
to
ball
be playing
forward.
with myself. Yeah,
Right.
exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, that was the Duke
there's-
Nukem arcade game.
Yeah.
You could press space in the arcade game. I don't have time to play with myself.
Play with myself. That's right. That's right.
You could also use the bathroom.
Yes, you can use the bathroom in this one.
You
too.
could urinate. Well,
in fact, you can urinate anytime you want in this game.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, I don't know if that's going to be in the final one, but I know you can do it anytime you want.
Well, I've seen the final one, and it's not great.
Okay. But I mean, yeah, the interactivity of it was like, it was kind of revolutionary for the time, and I think if they just kept with it and took that and polished it, it would have been great. It might not have been as big as Duke Nukem 3D. Who knows?
But at the same time, they were chasing ghosts.
They definitely were. They couldn't get out of their own hubris, I think, is what they
right.
They just had to
StarCraft Ghost.
Yeah.
They were chasing ghosts. They were going, we want to be the biggest, most technically advanced, most forward-thinking, most interactive game that's around. The problem is you're not going to build that in 2 years.
Yeah.
And like they released Duke Nukem 3D in 1996 and then said, we're going to start working on Duke Nukem Forever now. And we want it to be the biggest, most expansive, polished everything. Half-Life? What the hell is that? Well, Half-Life had been in development for 4 years before 1998, at which it was released. Well, the 3D Realms team saw Half-Life and go, oh, crap. Well, now we got to beat that.
Yeah. Well, this release actually has, it looks, I would have to say it looks a little better. I can't really say for sure because it looks a little better than
the mind's eye is a really difficult judge.
That's true. I can't really say what I would have thought about it back then, but there are definitely some elements in there that weren't in Half-Life. There were some definitely neat things like there was a kind of an interface even with this when you download it, where you walk up to interfaces and then you put your cursor on it and then Duke's finger comes out and you can move the finger around and he presses.
Oh, that's kind of cool.
And then you back up and it goes away and it goes back to the reticule for aiming your gun.
I like that.
Like, that's really cool. I had never seen that before.
Yeah.
Back in 2001, that would be completely revolutionary, be something completely different and neat that other games might have implemented. But they didn't think it was good enough. I don't know. It's kind of a shame. Yeah. I hope somebody really takes this and runs with it and maybe actually makes it a comprehensive game that you can actually go from start to end.
I think it could be a lot of fun.
It could be. I think it could be. Just going back and thinking about what could have been and playing what could have been.
Right.
It'd be a lot of fun.
The thing is,
there's even multiplayer levels in there that you can load up and play in.
Yeah. The thing is, we've reached the point, and I could almost say this as of like maybe 5 years ago. We've reached the point where hardware and technological advancements really don't make the gameplay any better anymore. And, you know, there's going to be some detractors going, well, blah, blah, blah looks amazing. Yeah, blah, blah, blah looks amazing, but...
Unless it's fun, it doesn't matter.
Unless it's fun, it doesn't matter. Unless it's interactive or enjoyable or thought-provoking or whatever. Like, fun isn't the only descriptor that you need to go to just because it's a game. You can do, like, oh gosh, what's that? Drawing a blank on the name. The girl with the blue face paint and the...
Oh yeah, that's a very like narrative type of a thing to the game, like Hellblade,
Senua's Sacrifice.
Yeah, Senua's Sacrifice.
That game.
Yeah,
that game is not fun.
Okay, but it's an experience though.
But
right?
It's an experience.
Yeah,
it's a hell of an experience.
That's a lot of the Telltale games. Like some of the Telltale games are very straightforward, and they're just basically glorified choose your own adventure games.
Yes.
But
yeah,
there's enough.
They're modern day LucasArts point and clicks.
Yeah. I mean, they're even dumber than that, to be quite honest.
Right.
But a lot of them have a compelling
I'm not
narrative.
putting my lips on that.
Yeah. They have enough compelling narrative and a good storytelling to them that's it. They're good games to play.
Right. As I think we'll end with this because it's 10:40. We should probably wrap up a 2-hour show eventually.
Mm-hmm.
I think we'll leave with this. Okay. If you are a young games developer, an aspiring games developer, take lessons from the game studios that came before you. Look at Half-Life and Half-Life 2.
Yeah.
Look at Left 4 Dead 2. Look at Portal. Look at Grand Theft Auto. Look at all of these magnificent games. Senua's Sacrifice, Hellblade. Look at Meat Boy. Look at Mario. Take your inspiration and understand the technical limitations of the 8 and 16 and 32-bit and 64-bit era do not apply to you.
Yeah.
If The Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time can be the best rated game of all time, there is no reason that a game today needs more technical or storytelling acumen.
Right. Yeah. Back then, and this is the biggest lesson from the Duke Nukem thing. They were chasing the technological aspect of it. They really wanted to make sure the game was the best looking and the prettiest thing ever, and totally discounting, well, is this even fun? Is this even something that everybody would want to play? And I think that was the mentality back then anyway. So, but nowadays, because you have a lot of indie developers that are focusing on what is interesting and what is fun.
Yeah.
And I think that is, if you're a developer that's first starting out, that's probably your number one thing to focus on.
What
makes a game fun.
Right. Look at some of the cult classics and even like explosive hits of the past 10 years. For God's sakes, look at Minecraft.
Oh yeah,
Terraria.
Look at
Terraria.
So simple.
Look at Fortnite. Look at Roblox. Look at these games are not technical marvels.
No,
by any stretch.
No.
Minecraft runs on Java, for God's sakes.
I know.
And no one wants the Windows version. They want the Java version.
Yeah.
But I'm thinking back to some of like the most fun games that have no story, have no point, and are just. Have you ever tried Ravenfield, Steve? Ravenfield was like an itch.io demo of like before Fortnite or any of these other free-for-all marathon shooters were a thing.
Look that up.
Now this is only a single player game, but it's single player in
it's Ravenfield. Yes, okay, I do actually. I have this.
So it's stupid simple graphics.
Super simple. It's like the very blocky 3D.
Right, your super simple blocky 3D characters on a slightly more impressive, geographical map.
Yeah.
But you're given like 5 weapons and said, go kill the other army.
Yeah, it's super simple.
And it's amazingly fun. Yeah. You have games like Gunpoint. You ever played Gunpoint?
Yes.
Gunpoint is my favorite cult classic game of all time.
Yeah, it's really fun. And it was amazing because like my son, who's
because that probably could have run on an SNES.
Yeah, so my son who's 5, right? And he has access to all these games, the best graphics ever. I loaded up the Atari 2600 Combat tank game with the bullets that bounce off of things. We sat there and played that for hours, and he laughed and laughed and laughed and laughed every single time he hit me.
Right.
Totally loved it. It's such a simple game, such a simple, easy, fun game, and it's got nothing to do with graphics. It's got to do with what is fun.
Yep.
And that's all it is.
Yep. If you can learn anything as a young game developer, as someone who strives to make like the next big thing, seek out fun, seek out story, and let the technical things fall where they may. Like if a technical masterpiece and if a tech demo is what you want to make, then that's what you'll get. You will be graded on what you seek to gain a grade on. If you seek to gain a grade for technical acumen and photorealistic graphics and super accurate physics, that's awesome. But if you don't put any effort into voice acting or storytelling or gameplay or puzzle elements or anything else, a pretty game is just a pretty game, but it doesn't make it fun.
Yeah. It's just a walking demo at that point.
Right. And
who cares?
Maybe not even a good one.
Maybe not even a good one. Exactly.
So yeah, gameplay over graphics, storytelling over graphics, gameplay over storytelling. Still, fight me.
Graphics are always nice.
Graphics are always nice.
They're always nice. If you can combine
graphics are like a distant fifth.
You're gonna get the masterpiece if you can do that. Yeah. But you don't need all of those things to be a success.
If you can put good graphics onto a good game, it's a better game.
Oh yeah, of course.
Any bad game can have good graphics, though.
Yeah, there's lots of bad games that have good graphics.
There's a lot of bad games that have good graphics.
Yeah.
Not going to call anyone out right now, though. Anyway.
Yeah.
That was a super interesting beer.
Yeah. I opened my third already because I polished mine off already.
Yeah. That was among the most unique Imperial barrel-aged stouts I've ever had.
Wow, okay.
Because, like, you think barrel-aged Imperial stout. You go, oh, motor oil, dark chocolate, coffee, roasty.
Yeah.
This was 13.6%, but light-bodied, milk chocolate, playful.
Wow.
Like, this is a different experience. This is getting cotton candy when you're expecting a s'more.
That's interesting.
I don't think there's any better way to explain that.
Well, I mean, because I've had that beer several times, but I haven't had this year's.
And so have I. Like the 2020 was literally like, man, your forward focus is way past its date.
That's why I picked up the Fatality, because I'm like, okay, I've had it before,
right?
But that was like 3 years ago, and they're making it their yearly release. So I want to see what Level's going to do with it. So I picked it up, and it did. It tasted different than what I remember. So. Maybe that's the same thing with Rolling Thunder. They're just doing it a little differently this time.
Who knows? But this was good.
Good.
Surprisingly good.
Good.
Because it's like you go, ooh, Rolling Thunder, and then you crack the top and you go, ooh, what is, that's not pouring, right?
I know.
And then you take a drink and you're back to, ooh.
Whoa, that's weird. That's weird.
Right. Yeah, like the entire range of emotions I experienced in this one beer. It was fantastic. Anyway, that's going to do it for episode 234 of Talking Heads. Thank you for joining us on this Wednesday night or in podcast form over on anchor.fm or wherever your favorite podcasts are found. Hit that subscribe button. Make sure to like this video if you did like it. Subscribe to the channel would be even better. I already said that, but hey, I'm an old-fashioned and a Rolling Thunder Imperial Stout in. Join the Patreon if you like the content you see on the channel and want to help support us in what we do. Join the Discord server. You can chat with myself, John, Rhett, Steve, all the hosts from Talking Heads, and join the awesome community that hangs out over there. And I think as always, we'll see you next bat time. Same bat time, same bat channel. Good Lord.
See you guys.
Bye.